Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Lika. She is an intuitive healer, a Tantra teacher, a business coach, who also hosts workshops and events on transformation, spirituality, self-development, embodiment, and exploration of the divine feminine. Lika, how are you doing today?
Wow, thank you for having me on this beautiful platform. I feel very honored. So I feel a lot of expansion in my heart to be here and to connect with you and your audience and talk about all the things that I'm passionate about.
Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to jumping in and learning more about who you are and what you do and sharing that with the audience. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So, how long have you been working as an intuitive healer?
I want to say my whole life. I want to say since I was a teenager, really, I started to coach people and to be the place where people would come to me at school. It was very interesting. Like people will come to me to advise and bring their friends and be like, hey, just talk to her. Very good advice, and especially around relationships. So relationship with self and relationship with others. It was very interesting. And then I started my journey when I was around 18. I followed a path that my parents had chose for me. That was to go in a business school, and felt very depressed because I was not really fitting in. It was not really aligned with my heart, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Because how do you become an intuitive healer? I didn't grow up knowing this was a career path. So I discovered yoga. That was my, I would say, first introduction to healing modalities and to connecting with myself. And I do believe we are all intuitive healers. I just connected so deeply with myself that I realized that I had some healing powers, that my body could heal himself from depression, anxiety, and feeling out of alignment. And I discovered that I had something called my intuition that was extremely powerful, that I was extremely sensitive, that I've always been since I'm a little kid, and that I could use that to guide others and to help others. And then I did a yoga teacher training, and then I did some Reiki training to really learn how to work with energies. And I started to guide people back to their body and intuition.
Now, when did you really embrace your gift and decide to start using it to help people?
I just couldn't do any other way. It was stronger than me. I'm a Libra and a Sagittarius rising. So I do have some fire in my chart for anyone that is into astrology. So I have this fire and this rebellious also aspect of me of I just want to do what I want to do. So I embraced it right away. I worked very little in corporate, but I was still connected to my passions because I was also passionate about the earth and our connection to Pachamama and the environment and this beautiful planet that we live on. So I worked a little bit in corporate, less than a year, and I was working in sustainability. So I was still connected to that aspect of me.
Right.
Other than that, I was working 2 jobs. I had a shitty jobs on the side, but I was a yoga teacher. So I embraced it as soon as I finished my studies, really. So I was 22, I guess. And I think what led me to fully embrace that was my own journey and my own transformation. And I felt so good. And my friends were looking at me and like, oh my God, you changed so much and you're so empowered. And I was like, I cannot keep it for myself. I have to share that.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And so I'm always curious about this, and I love hearing different people's thoughts on this. But do you believe that everyone has the ability within to be an intuitive, and it's just a matter of having the right guidance to do so, or figuring out how to tap into that ability?
100%. As I shared before, I do believe we all have this strong intuition and we all have gifts. I think what most people are struggling with, as I was, at least that's my own personal example and experience, is that I didn't know it was a gift. Yeah. I thought everyone had what I had. And then I started to talk about people that had other types of gifts, like psychic gifts, like audience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, all the clairs, and people that were really intuitive and some people that were not. And I just realized, oh, that's special. That's something. But I do believe we all have, to some extent, some gift. And as you mentioned, it takes guidance. But, we are talking about intuition here. I think the guidance, we can provide it for ourselves. I think it's a matter of turning inward, really going inside of ourselves, connecting with the extraordinary intelligence of our bodies. Our bodies have the wisdom, have the power. We know how many times in our day we feel stuff in the body and we don't know. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but we know we should avoid one street, or we should reach out to this person, or, it's tiny little things like this that we can follow to develop that power, that gift, that intuition. And the healing part is really also about connecting with our bodies. I think our bodies are so incredibly intelligent and they can heal themselves if we don't get in the way. So I would say it's about quiet the mind as much as we can and turn it inward, and realizing that we're so much more powerful than we think we are, and that we have been taught that we are.
It's a tough thing too, because a lot of people don't want to go within. They don't want to look within because they don't like what they see and things like that. So it's a very tough mental thing to get over, I think, and to get past, because we always get in our own ways. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to things like this, and so many different things, mindset and being able to accomplish things. We always get in our own way. We are our own worst enemies.
Oh, 100%. And I am my worst enemy still, even doing what I do, even coaching people at very high levels, self-development and spirituality and all of that. I'm still my worst enemy. It's still hard to look within, and it's so essential. It's a very courageous, brave act to go within and to sit with our discomfort. I think there is no growth without discomfort, or there is growth in every discomfort. Yeah. And even when I started as a yoga teacher, my favorite thing to guide people into was to make them hold posture for a very long time. And I was like, just create comfort in the discomfort. Find it in your breath. And it's possible when you tap again into the body to create that. When you feel some sensations that are not pleasant, because I think when we quiet the mind and we sit with ourselves, whether it's in meditation or just even in conversation with someone, when we can be so present that we slow down and we observe how the energy is moving in our bodies and how we feel in every given moment. Even when it's uncomfortable, we build this capacity to hold more discomfort. We train ourselves. It's just like a muscle, and it comes from a willingness to go there. There is so much reward on the other side. It can be a very pleasant thing, because pain and pleasure are really one of the same. So when we're brave enough to dive into the pain, to dive into the discomfort, we usually find a lot of pleasure on the other side.
It's a very fine line, and we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you had mentioned about slowing down. I think therein lies another problem for a lot of people, is slowing down, because society has conditioned us that, and the way of thinking now is people don't want to wait for things. They're very impatient and everything moves at such a fast pace. We're being bombarded with on social media with sound clips and images and video, and everything moves at such a quick pace. So it's hard for people to take the time to slow down, but we need to in order to tune into ourselves and tune into our bodies and tune into our minds.
Yes. And in Tantra, and sacred sexuality, there is this whole path of slowing down. And of course, it brings more pleasure and more expansion when we talk about sex, and intimacy. But when we apply that to our day-to-day, when we slow down so much when we eat our food, or when we have a conversation with a friend, it just expand our awareness and our presence becomes so delicious. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Yeah. And yes, it is a challenge in today's society, as you mentioned, and we have it in ourselves to slow down. It's difficult, again, but it's very rewarding and it can change our lives. I know some very simple practices that can shift our whole perspective on life. As I mentioned, like when we eat, sensual eating, just taking time to touch and smell and breathe when we eat. Be life-changing for someone that struggles with eating disorders or a relationship with food. It can change their entire life just because they slow down.
How does traditional spirituality differ from a spirituality that honors the divine feminine?
Well, I would say what comes to me right now is that in traditional spirituality, there is a lot of emphasis on ascending. So it's a lot about the upper chakras. It's a lot about meditation. It's a lot about basically transcending the human experience. When we include the divine feminine, it's more about a descending process. It's like we go deep within. We go deep into the earth. We connect with Pachamama instead of wanting to be up there in the stars. We connect with our roots, with our essence, with our ancestors. We connect with the womb space, the creative space. So to me, it is really about embracing us as souls in a body, as humans.
Yeah.
And what it means to be humans. Because I feel like, and I've been there. When I started my journey, I was all about meditation, all about, even the yogic path is very focused on transcending the body, We only do the posture to be able to meditate and to transcend this state. So there is a lot of bypassing from the human experience. There is a lot of trying to be perfect, trying to be angels, basically, cultivating compassion, starting to not judge anymore. So basically there is a lot of rejection. We reject all of the darkness to go to the light, to be love and light. That was my experience, at least. And then I discovered the Tantric path, where it really spoke to my heart, because it was, yes, there is a desire for the light, and we want to improve, and we want to work on ourselves, and we want to be connected to God. And we're humans, and we embrace this. We embrace the anger, we embrace the judgment, we embrace the shadows, we embrace the earth. So I would say that's a big part of integrating the divine feminine. And with that being said, I really do believe that it has to be an inner union. That's what I apply to everything in my work, whether it's a more spiritual guidance, more of an embodiment and connecting with ourselves, or even on a business perspective. This notion of inner union, balancing our feminine and masculine, embracing all aspects of them, whether they are the wounded expression of them or the enlightened, divine expression of them, is so essential. To me, it's about finding this equilibrium. Because if we also go, and I've been there, working so much with the divine feminine, with complete rejection of our inner energies of masculine, or even on this planet, rejecting the masculine, it will create another imbalance. And I do thrive for, I really stand for harmony. I think the more we can find harmony within our being, the more harmony we can see outside in our outer reality.
Absolutely. So, Lika, you are an embodiment priestess. For those who might not know, can you share a little bit about what an embodiment priestess is and the work you do as an embodiment priestess?
Yes. So it's a funny, fancy wording, embodiment priestess, isn't it? It always makes me laugh to try to introduce myself, like I'm a potential specialist, an embodiment priestess, and all those terms. I think it's very funny to play with those archetypes. What I would say around that is, first of all, I'm a human. I'm a very human. That's how I would introduce myself. Then for the embodiment priestess part, I do believe the priestess name comes with a lot of responsibility and a sense of initiation. I've been initiated mainly by life and really hard experiences to really be connected to myself, my essence, and show up in the world in the way that was very authentic, very real, and very unique and different. I had to dare to be different. And the embodiment part is, again, the body, is how can I be in integrity with myself, with what I say, to be the embodiment of what I preach, to guide people through my being, through my presence, through how I show up in the world. So what I do with that is I guide people to do the exact same. I guide them to reconnect with their body, their sensuality, their uniqueness, their unique flavors and codes and frequencies, and be sensitive to what it feels like to be themselves, to be a very special human with unique codes, to embody that. So to bring that into the tangible reality. Because again, if we compare it to like spiritual work, it can be a lot in the head. It can be a lot in dreaming, praying, and then nothing really happens in this physical plane. So it's bringing it into the daily experience of reality.
I love it. Now, you're trained in multiple areas and modalities. Can you speak a bit about that and how you incorporate those into your work? And as well, could you give us a brief overview of your approach when working with clients?
Yes, I've trained in many things because I'm a manifesting generator for anyone into human design, which basically means I'm a multi-passionate person. So I've studied many things, and so I studied Tantra and yoga and Reiki and conscious relating, sacred sexuality, all those beautiful, amazing topics. The way I do it is very unique. I work with my clients, my beautiful clients, with that perspective of embodiment. So for me, it's important that I work with the divine feminine. What is the divine feminine? It's really about being equals, and our society right now is based on a more triangle, hierarchical, structure. There is someone above, someone below, this rank. We're ranking humans.
Yeah.
Whether we do it in the corporate world or whether we do it in, just the social world as well. So working with the feminine and working with my clients, like we are equals. We're both sitting around the circle. That's why I've led so many women circles, is to come together and to activate each other, to activate our most expansive potential. Tantra is about expansion, is how much we can expand in our consciousness and our awareness, in the expression of ourselves. How liberated can we feel? So that's how I take all the beautiful parts of my trainings and I create those unique experiences for people to experience themselves through me, but to experience the best expansive version of them. And what I get from my clients is that they know they have this potential. We can feel it. We're very intuitive, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. In this day and age, everyone is very psychic, very intuitive. We know there is more to life.
Yeah.
We know that there is more to us. We can feel it intuitively. It's like an instinct, it's just like a wild animal that will be caged, but they still have this inside, even though they don't know anything else. They never knew the wild. We still have this wild within. So I work with people that are already sensitive to their own wild within.
Yeah.
They can feel it. They can feel there is more to life. They can feel there is more to themselves. And I extract it and we birth it into reality. So I love to say I'm a potential doula as well. Like we birth all this potential, all this wild. It's just like, if you want to compare it to how it would feel in the body, just having more space to breathe.
Yeah.
More space to to be yourself. And you feel, when your chest gets bigger, like when you roll your shoulders back and your heart is more open, your heart is more receiving. That's
Expansion.
basically true. Yeah.
Expansion. Yeah. I love it.
Expansion.
What lights you up or inspires you the most about the work you do?
It's my clients. I do it again, I've done this transformation for myself and it feels so fucking good because I cannot even see myself. I acknowledge my past self, but I've grown so much and changed so much and liberated myself so much. I was such a poor little thing. I was living in victimhood. I was very not confident. I was struggling with a lot of things. In my relationships, I was not able to express myself. I was in very toxic partnerships when it came to love. I was very confused about my purpose. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I struggled with anxiety my whole life. I was so stressed. I didn't know any other reality. I was always sick, sometimes even going multiple times to the hospital. I was so depressed as well. I couldn't find meaning in this life. So my own transformation is definitely what fuels me. But then now I'm feeling very good. I'm like, wow, I'm very embodied and it's epic and I'm on my path and on my purpose. But again, it doesn't mean shit if it's not shared because I cannot keep it to myself. I love that we're so different. I love to bring a new perspective to people and I love to invite them in my world. It's like I grab your hand and I'm like, hey, come and see over there. It's so cool.
I've got something to show you. Yeah.
100%. It's just like when we were kids, playing. Hey, do you want to
check this out?
Yeah, 100%. I do it with something else that really ignite this passion inside of me is the playful part. It's the work that I do when you work with embodiment and personal development and inner transformation. All of this can get very serious. If you look online on social media, on Instagram, everyone is so deep and passionate and it gets very, very intense, very wow. We do shadow work. So we also go into the trauma, we go into the past, we go into the struggle, we face it all, right? We don't reject the shadows. So it gets heavy. My intention is to bring a little bit less seriousness about this whole deep work that is very serious and that will change your entire reality, that will help you to, tap into more pleasure, more expansion, more money, more impact in the world, all of this very serious shit. But to bring it with such a sense of, hey, that's just a game. We're here to play and let's have fun in the process. And it's also about the work that I do is about embracing all aspects of us. So sometimes there are some parts that are not really pretty, that we don't really want to face. So the more fun we can bring into the experience, the more joy, the more laughter and lightness we can bring into that, the more we experience all the flavors of ourselves in a very pleasurable way. I think it's very, very important. And I have seriousness in my chart. I can get so fucking serious.
Yeah.
And that's why I love to not take myself so seriously. And the way I translate light in my work is that I've showed up to many of my workshops about, goddess work and divine feminine. And I was asking my clients to show up, dressing up like a goddess and to push their edges, maybe choosing an archetype that they want to embody, such as the seductress or the goddess or whatever. But it was not my edge anymore for me because I've done this work so many times. And again, I'm all about embodying what I preach. So it's I need to push my own edges for my clients because I want to meet them and not just be a guide. I want to be with them. So I showed up with a mustache and a one eyebrow and just dressed like crazy. And I was leading, it's so funny because I was leading this very intense activation, very deep meditation, hypnosis that took us on the depth of ourselves. And then I just opened my eyes and peek into and just saw myself. And I was like, this is just so hilarious. So I think this is a big motivation for me too. And that's something that I wish I could see more in the industry is fun and, less seriousness.
Life is short. We have to have fun. And I think as we grow into adulthood and become adults, we forget what it's like to be a kid and to have fun. And we need to remember that and go back to that and know that, you know what, it's okay to act like a kid sometimes and to have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. Life is short. Don't take it too seriously.
Exactly. And we will spend a lot of time in meditation and trying to reach for this higher frequency, right? Love, gratitude, and God. Again, it's like getting as close as we can to God. I do believe spirituality is what connects us to spirit. And if anyone gets triggered by the word God, I just had to do my own healing around that, but you can call it the universe, source, or
whatever you want. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever you want. But when you think about it, when you're in a state of joy, when you're just so present with your friend and you're just laughing, you are in that meditative space without even trying.
Yeah.
It's effortless. And I love this effortlessness of, hey, I'm just laughing right now and I'm so connected to God. I'm so connected to the universe right now. I'm so much in expansion because I feel this joy without even forcing, without having to sit and put a timer and breathe through it or whatever. It's effortless.
Just being.
Yeah.
Lika, what type of person or client is your ideal client? What things do you look for in a potential client before deciding to work with them?
I will go back to what I shared before. It's someone that feels in themselves that there is more. Yeah. There is more to be expressed. There is more to be felt. And they really want to transcend. There is a transcendental aspect of my work where we transcend limitations. And I think you must feel in your belly, in your gut, or in your heart, and somewhere in your body that there is a wild that wants to be expressed, or there is a potential that needs to be birthed into reality. The people I work with are entrepreneurs, artists, mostly because I also include this business aspect in my work. Now it's the one-on-one work that I do. It's also for anyone that wants to feel in better relationships. Relationships are the center of this human experience. It always starts with the relationship we have with ourselves. And we know this. If we are into this work, I guess all of your audience is already somehow connected to this aspect of, you know, self-improvement and working on ourselves and self-love and all those topics. I do believe that this intimacy that we can build with ourselves, with our bodies, is infinite. There is always layers and layers. So it's anyone that wants to deepen that work and how it will also impact their love life, their relationship with their business partners or colleagues or parents. I've done so much healing about my relationship to my parents, healed, ancestral traumas through healing the relationship to myself and to my parents. And so it's people that feel that desire.
Now, you have said that you had an experience that broke open your deepest sexual awakening, which also led you into the study of Kundalini and Tantra. Can you speak a little bit about that awakening?
Yes, I got my heart broken. I had the most painful breakup of my life. And it led me to not being able to move from my bed for 3 days. When I say not move, I couldn't even go to the bathroom. I couldn't even grab a glass of water. The emotional pain that I felt was so intense that I felt it in my whole system, in my whole body. And during those 3 days, I had major breakthroughs. It's like the amount of pain was acting like a psychedelics, and it was a whole altered state of consciousness that I tapped into. And I realized that even though I was working with yoga for many years, even though I was on my personal development journey for many years, about 8 or 10 years already, I felt my body in a different way. I could see and feel in my body the pain. And that was the first time that I've acknowledged everything that I was somehow pushing under the rug, all the abandonment issues, all of my trauma from childhood, so much repressed emotions that came up with that one breakup. It was not even that the relationship was perfect and that, it was not connected to my ex, really. It was connected to, that was just a trigger.
Yeah.
And that triggered something so intense in my body that I've spent, well, my whole life since then, but very intense 9 months of healing. So I've cut myself off from the world. I was in my parents' house because I was into moving countries, and then my ex left. I had nowhere to go. I needed to find out where I wanted to go. And again, I was way too weak to go anywhere else. So I locked myself for 9 months, had very few contact with outside reality. And I made the promise to myself that I will take the time to heal, no matter how long it will take, but I will sit with all the pain. I will sit with it. I will really sit with it, just like you sit with ayahuasca, just like you sit with mushrooms or any psychedelic. I'm going to come in ceremony with that pain. And that pain awakened my connection to my womb and to my pussy. I also experienced an abortion in one of my past relationships about 2 years or 3 years before that event. So I had a lot of trauma stored in my womb space, and I was very disconnected from my pussy power, from my feminine power. I didn't even know my anatomy. I didn't even know that I could experience this type of pleasure that I'm experiencing right now. I didn't even know that I had so much body image and so much shame around my sexuality and so much guilt and so much societal inherited like limitation and distortion. I didn't even have the awareness, but it all came up when I felt this wave of pain and sat with it for 9 months. And I wrote in my journals, I started to dance with my pain, which I literally danced with it. And as I was dancing, as I was really feeling in my body, not with the mind, not with like trying to rationalize it, not trying to get better or to, come out of this and heal faster. Of course, I was very impatient. And of course, many times I was begging the sky for the pain to go away. But the only way out was through. I needed to feel it fully. And by feeling it fully, the pain, I tapped into pleasure, and I tapped into my sexuality, my sacred sexuality as well. I was like, wow, I know that the sexual act is a connection with spirit, with God, through another. That is a very intimate, magical experience, and that I've always felt it before, that sex was, the way we present sex in our society is wrong. This is fucked up. It's either super taboo from religion and like we shouldn't talk about it, like it's like it's a big no, or it's the porn industry that is
one extreme to the other,
by men for men, and that remove all the sacredness. And it's funny enough because I've never really watched porn, but I knew porn was fucked up, and so I rejected, I was really strong opinionated about porn, but I never really watched it. And then I watched it, and I was like, this is so fucked up. This is even more fucked up than I thought.
Yeah.
And I was like, if people are, especially young people, introducing to this energy that we cannot escape it. Even like, yoga and like most of spiritual paths that are very masculine, they also reject sexuality. That's why I choose the Tantric path, is because it's the only path that doesn't reject sexuality. Our sexual energy is part of us being human. We cannot transcend it. It's the most powerful, in my opinion, it's the most powerful energy of all. It's the one that can birth consciousness, babies, into this world. It's the one that we use to create. That's the one we use to feel connected with ourselves. To me, it's the energy at the source of any other energies. And even if you want to think it in a more practical, tangible, less woohoo up there, it's a God energy, and it's an energy that is very strong. Think about being turned on. Like, you feel it in your body. It's sometimes it's irresistible. Like it's very strong energy. So when you learn to connect with that, again, through the body, through breathing through it, through expressing it, you become a master at yourself, basically, because you master this primal, incredible, expansive energy that we all possess. And you can, of course, connect with your body, of course, connect with your sexuality. But to me, this sexual energy is how I create anything that I do. It's how I create art. It's how I create anything in my business. It's how I connect with others. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to get into sexual intercourse with the people around me. Of course not. But it's what brings, again, presence and aliveness. I'm connected to me being embodied in this body as a human, as a soul, having a human experience, and to this notion of aliveness. I think is so important when we work with the divine feminine, because that's really at the core of it.
Absolutely.
So I think I went into so many tangents, but like
that's okay. No problem.
You're
passionate about what you're talking about, what you teach, what you embody.
100%. And I'm really trying to teach people to go there with that, having to go through the pain that I've went through. And to be honest, when we work with those energies, we have to embrace some kind of pain. We have to go into the trauma. I don't know any woman in my work as clients ever, even as friends, I don't know no one that didn't experience some sort of sexual trauma, whether it's a very abuse or rape or, would say like heavy trauma or a light trauma of not knowing our boundaries, not being so connected that we even can put a tampon and cross our own boundaries because our pussies, our yonis didn't want to be penetrated with a tampon at this time. Or even not even like a physical thing, but just like carrying guilt or shame around our desires. That can also be a very traumatic response of our bodies.
The little T's and the big T's.
Exactly. I think it's so vital that we do this work because it's so liberating. It's so freeing and empowering. And we hear that a lot, but what does it mean to be empowered? It means that you feel in control, not in a forcing way, but you feel in charge of your existence, in charge of yourself. You can feel safe in your body to experience yourself and to move through the world as your most expansive, authentic, real, raw, wild self. It's epic.
It is. I love it. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I think it's my love. It's really my love and my passion. And I think it's because I'm funny as well. I know I'm very magnetic because of all those things. Another big thing for success is integrity. I am extremely hard on myself. That's not something that I'm proud of. Like it's something, that, I had to embrace. I have my moon in Virgo that is very present in my chart. Again, for anyone into astrology, I love to blame my things onto my astrology, but I'm extremely, extremely hard on myself to be in integrity. I had so many teachers that I'm so grateful for. They taught me exactly what not to do, because I cannot learn from someone that is preaching something and I can feel that it's just fluff. It's just something they're saying, something they've learned through their mind. Even a yoga teacher. I remember being in a yoga teacher training and all those, my student friends around me, we were really trying to learn all the Sanskrit names of the postures. And, it doesn't make you a good yoga teacher to know all the things, to have all the knowledge. What makes a good yoga teacher for me, in my experience, is someone that can be present to their student, that can love them, that have a real desire in their heart to share that medicine that is yoga. It doesn't matter if you know, downward facing dog in Sanskrit. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's the same in my work today. Integrity. I'm so hard on myself. Sometimes I take like months to birth an offer because I want to make sure that I'm not bullshitting anyone, that I'm not preaching something that I don't do myself. That is, to me, the key to success. Another key to success for me, in my experience, is self-love. Self-love will come and go. I don't love myself every day, even though I teach about self-love. But I have this desire to build a strong partnership and a strong relationship with myself. I married myself. That's another part of my journey that is funny. I got married to myself. It was a 1-year process. I went to another city here in Mexico to embody. We talk about self-love, we do the exercise, we read the books, we do the journaling prompts. I wanted to make it real. I wanted it to be tangible. I wanted to have the ceremony. I wanted to have the ring on my finger. I wanted to taste the depth of this commitment that I have for my own relationship to self. And when you embrace and accept all aspects of you, people can feel it. People are magnetized to that. They want it because we all to some extent, we all want to experience that. So I think that's one aspect. Another one for success is, and something that is very magnetic again, it's not taking yourself so seriously, is being very authentic, very real about not being perfect. I'm not trying to pretend anymore. I've been there in my journey as well. Like being an entrepreneur in the beginning, I was like, oh, I need to be perfect. I need to prove that I know. I need to prove that I'm a good coach. I need to prove that I'm worthy. It's not really magnetic. People can feel it as well, whether consciously or unconsciously. And so, yes.
People can detect bullshit, and authenticity is so important, and it's such a huge thing. We need more authenticity in the world.
100%. Like I'm such an advocate for that. It's like, I don't care if you're perfect, just show me real.
Yes.
Because real is exciting. Real is human. Real is like, I don't know, it activates all part of us, and it's a big permission slip to be just who we are.
Absolutely.
And not try to be this perfect, immaculate angel version of ourselves. We'll be perfect when we die and we go back to the egoless place and we are angels and just pure consciousness.
There is no such thing as perfect on this planet. Perfect doesn't exist.
Exactly. As we're here as human, let's embrace it all. So
100%.
Let's have fun in the process. I think that's key to success. And it's also what we shared along this podcast together, the willingness to go into the dark, to go into the discomfort, the pain, and to embrace it all, to embrace the dark as much as the light, and, you know, the good as much as the bad.
You have to have them both. You can't have one without the other. It's impossible.
Exactly. I think it's a big key, and it's being able to sit with how much discomfort it will create. Like whether you're successful, success is a very interesting thing. For me, success means fulfillment. I want to feel fulfilled. Yeah. I want to have an impact in this world. I want to help people, as much people as I want, to go on this journey of self-liberation and to birth their project and to have more success in their businesses and all that jazz. But it comes to how much expansion I can experience, how much fulfillment, and success will be different for everyone, I guess. But the keys to success are really like how we navigate, how we build up our capacity to hold it in our system as well. I think it's
absolutely 100%. Lika, what is the most important thing you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I want to say tell the truth. My life before it was a life of people pleasing, of outsourcing everything, outsourcing love. I felt so incomplete. I felt that I was missing something, that I was lacking something. I always search more love and more compassion and validation through relationships. I've learned the most through my romantic partnerships, I guess, and all kind of relationship really. But anyhow, telling the truth is the hardest thing for me, but it's something that, like, honesty is top of my list in terms of my value. I want people to tell me the truth, and I want to tell the truth all the time. It's easier said than done. In order to know the truth, I had to know what was my truth. Yeah. And most of my time I was so numb, so disconnected from myself, I didn't even know. How can I tell something I don't even know? I had to know what were my feelings, like what is it that I really feel? What is it that I really need? My needs were also important. What is it that I want? And being able to use my voice, using my voice was a big part of my journey. I've been silent most of my life. So before telling the truth, and that's just a practice. It's not something like, oh, I woke up this day and I was telling the truth to everyone around me. It's a continuous practice. It's life-changing. We can heal so much, even physical illness. We can heal physical illness through telling the truth. There is this book called Radical Honesty. I don't remember the author. It's a very great book for anyone that wants to explore that aspect. But radical honesty is what I've learned and that changed my life and that is still changing my life. The quality of my relationships, I didn't even know it was possible to experience such intimacy with my business partners, with my friends, with even strangers, you know, like even someone you will connect only sexually for just one night. Yeah. If you can be so real and so honest and not withhold anything, be so transparent about what you feel, who you are as a person, just be you 100% real.
Authenticity.
What is authenticity? And tell the truth, like voice it. It will change every interaction you have in this world.
Beautiful. The truth will set you free, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you could set up a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would it say?
Okay, that's a good one. I love that. Where would I put it? I think, to be honest, if I could put a billboard, I would. It's a tough one. I think I would put it in my room. I would put something in my room, and I would say something like, another day, another opportunity to be yourself and change the world. And so it will be a reminder. I have kind of that already in my room, but I have those notes everywhere. But I think I would do that so that I can be the embodiment. So then wherever I go, whoever comes in my way, whether it's through social media or even like, the waiter or the cleaning lady, like whoever will come in my way will be impacted by what I embody, by the frequency of my love, my generosity, my desire to be a better person, my desire to truly connect with people and to be on that path of becoming better humans and more loving, compassionate beings. So I guess I would do it in my room so that I can see it. Yeah, that's a good one.
What is the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
Invest in myself all the time. I have a new mentor. I have a new coach right now, and I haven't had one in 7 months. So I always invest in myself in courses and stuff like this. And right now I invested in a mentor one-on-one, and I just needed to go through that period where I was not investing. Well, I was still in some programs, but no one working with me, as a guide, as space holder. I needed to go through that to really connect with my own medicine. I felt it. But now to have it again, it's very fresh. I only had one session. I remember the power of community, the power of being held, because she's not teaching me much. Like, I don't learn anything. But to feel held in my journey, I feel unstoppable. I feel like, everything that we used to struggle with, like it's super tiny. And
you're supported.
100%. And it fastened the journey. I don't know if that makes sense, but something that I would have done in maybe 3 or 4 months, in only one session, it's done. It's like I moved through that. Even in my business, it's something that I thought of doing in 5 years. I've done it in 2 weeks.
Support is key.
100%.
Who in your life has had the biggest impact on you and why?
My dad, because I resented my parents for so many years. Healing my relationship with them was a big piece of my journey. I really want to talk more about this in my work too, because I see it in so many people. We resent a lot of things that our parents or caregiver did to us. At least that was my experience. I resented my parents for a lot of things. I blamed them, especially when I started to awaken to my truth. I was like, I was taught wrong, and I never had space for my emotions and my sensitivity in my home. And I felt like I couldn't fit in at school, and I was not even feeling like I was fitting in my own house, in my own home with my parents. And then at the age of 22, I decided to tell the truth to my parents. We don't speak in my family. And I sat down with my parents. I was in London. I flew them in for Christmas. And we sat down. I was like, I need to have a talk with you. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks before that because I knew I was about to have this conversation with them.
Yeah.
I was about to tell them everything that I felt for 22 years. Not only express it, but also hear from them. It was a liberation. I cannot believe that I've been able to do so. If anyone in listening to that resonate with a family where it's not easy to express ourselves, where we never talked about anything. We never talked about feelings or emotions or even the past. I don't know much about my parents, really. And I made this shift to see my parents not as my parents, like they owe me anything, but as people. They're their own entities. And now that I've done this healing and I'm on the other side of it, and I have so much love for my parents. I have so unconditional love. Full radical acceptance of who they are. I'm not trying to change them anymore. I'm not trying to teach them anything from my work. They're who they are. And I fucking love the shit out of them, really. And I'm realizing that the person that I am, even though I rejected everything they taught me, I think, in that book I mentioned earlier, I think he said we stay teenager most of our lives. These few human, people are actually grown up. Even people that are running our countries and whatever. But that's another tangent. Anyway, I'm realizing now that I'm a lot like my parents. And if I said that many years ago, we'll be like, oh my God, no, please don't. I want to do anything but my parents.
Yeah.
But the values that my dad had taught me through the way he has been, you know, this integrity. He's also very funny. And I'm like, damn, I grew up in a very funny family. I didn't know. I tried to compare with other households how they're not as funny as, like, they don't have as much fun as we have in our family. But anyway, I'm a lot like my dad now, and a lot like my mom too. But my dad taught me everything that I know, you know, my relationship to generosity, to showing up, to my dad.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3, 4-word answer type thing, okay?
Okay.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Perfectly imperfect.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Living life as a perfect, imperfect human.
Would you rather have more time or more money?
More time.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Intense. Warning, intense.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would that be?
To voice themselves.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Deep connection.
What is one of your favorite quotes?
Be kind to unkind people. They need it the most.
Lika, what is an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
My roommate, soul sister, and business partner. So grateful for her.
What does the best version of you look like when you close your eyes and imagine it?
Pretty much myself already. There is no future distorted version of me. So I'm the best I can be every day.
Beautiful. I love that. What is your why?
Growth and expansion and joy and connection and love.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Believe in yourself, even when no one does.
And lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What would you say to your corner of the world, your tribe, your people? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Forget everything you think you know about yourself, everything you were taught. Forget everything you think you know, and connect to that living, breathing, present moment. Connect to your body, connect to what you feel in the moment, and up the volume on that. Up the volume of your ability to feel, to be present as much as you can with your loved ones through the good things, the bad things, and do your best, be your best with love, and always tap into your heart.
Beautiful. Lika, thank you so very much for taking the time to be here with me today and share a little bit about your story and your journey. You are an incredibly inspirational, beautiful human being, woman, and soul. I appreciate you, and just keep shining your bright, beautiful light onto the world. I am so honored and happy to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me and holding such a beautiful space of expression for all of us to have a voice and have an impact. And my hope is that your audience found exactly what they needed, that they walk home with, they take what they liked and they leave what they didn't like.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Lika. She is an intuitive healer, Tantra teacher, and business coach. Thank you so much, Lika. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.